What is going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome back again for another video and another win. Bulls 4 in a row in over a year. My goodness, I never thought this day would come, but here we are going on 5. So let's talk about it right after this.
Get the lowdown on one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
All right, Bulls Nation. So my goodness, I thought yesterday was the perfect time for the Bulls to snap that 3-game winning streak. And not that I wanted to end it, I don't. It's just that, like in the first half, they played pretty terrible. And you're used to it as a Bulls fan. You're like, all right, here we go. It ends now. I mean, it definitely does end now. We've seen it before. You're not going to wonder why they lost. That's just how the Bulls go. And it was a good 3-game stretch. The Spurs were up by 10, and I was just like, all right, it was a good run, but at the end of the day, the Bulls are going to be the Bulls. But man, they rallied back. They showed some resilience. And sure, San Antonio is 3-15. I'm not overblowing this win. However, there's also no sure win for the Bulls. There's no team that the Bulls would play and you'd be like, this is a win. Because the Bulls is one of those teams where the good teams see the Bulls and they're like, this is a win. That's what the Bulls is. They're in no position to say this is a W right here. At least prior to the past 4 games. I don't know, man, but I'm feeling good about this Bulls team right now. I just am. So this next 4 games, I think, would dictate where we're at and what we should do in terms of roster. Because now we're stuck in a place where should we tear it down? And when I tear it down, I mean get rid of everyone, stockpile on draft pick, and hopefully you get some generational talent in the next 3 or 4 years. And that means losing as many games as possible. And how are you going to do that? By trading everyone that has a pulse and that can contribute to winning. That means Alex Caruso, Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan. Because currently they are winning. So if your goal is to lose as many games as possible, you might want to leave somebody like, let's say, Kobe, who's already signed for a contract. You might have to trade Patrick Williams, who's playing phenomenal right now. Maybe phenomenal is such a strong word, but sure, he contributes to winning. So if you have no plans on, like long-term plans with Patrick Williams, and let's say you don't want to sign him for, the reported amount back then was anything over 20 mil. If you don't think he's that type of player, you don't want to paint yourself in the corner like what you did with Zach, where you gave him the max contract, and then all of a sudden there's no really market for Zach because we keep on losing. So are you going to do that with Patrick Williams, or, and this is a question, or should you build around those young core? I guess the next 4 games would dictate whether you should go in that direction, meaning keep the core, Ayo, Patrick, and Kobe. Are they worth building around, or at least with Patrick Williams, because Ayo and Kobe are in a cost-controlled, salary? Would you commit to Patrick Williams if you see some development? Meaning, can he be one of the cornerstone of this franchise once DeMar walks away, once we trade Zach, and ride with those 3, and still kind of, tank in a hopes where you might land like a generational star, something that you can build more compared to those 3, because no doubt those 3, along with Julian Phillips, so far looks promising, right? Like I'm not getting too overly excited here, but I guess the next 4 games, which is they're pretty talented team. I mean, we're gonna play Miami twice, Denver, Lakers, and I believe Bucks as well. If we lose all those games, I'll be like, man, I don't know. Maybe we should trade. Because the thing with Patrick Williams is I would love to see what he's capable of. But at the same time, at what cost, right? Like, that is the question here. Is he gonna cost so much that you're gonna paint yourself in the corner here? Like for how many years? Is he a Kobe White where it's gonna be 3 years? Is he gonna demand 5? 25 for 5? That's 150 million. Do you want to commit that way for Patrick Williams? The next few games, look at this move right here, and he's very efficient last night. A lot of aggression, The rebounds is there. But let's not forget about Torrey Craig about last night. Torrey Craig also contributed a lot to this Bulls win with it hustle plays. I just love the fact that they're playing more free by removing one player. And we all thought that DeMar was the ball stopper. Well, I didn't thought about that, but a lot of people are. They said DeMar is preventing this team from playing fast. That's obviously not the case, because he had 10 assists. He had a terrible shooting game last night, but when it counted, when the game slowed down, this is where DeMar's value showed up. If the Bulls are trying to be competitive, and they could, I don't know what really the plan is. They could stick with this lineup, trade Zach, even if they don't get any bodies. And what I mean by that is they're supposed to get somebody for Zach to match the salaries. But any non-long term, let's say there's no future, let's say it's 2 first rounders. I don't know if we're going to get them from Zach, honestly. 2 first rounders. One is unprotected, one is, let's say, top 8, top 10 protected, and then salary dump. Honestly, I'll be fine with that without like a young talent. I'd rather have an unprotected first rather than, top 15 protected, 2 of them, and then a young talent. I think we have, just looking at the previous returns of this 4 games, I think Kobe looks good. I'm not suggesting by any means that Kobe, Ayo, and Patrick Williams is going to be the future. Future, I mean like Wembanyama or, young future prospect. But we got to admit, this past 4 games, they look pretty darn good. They play hard. They defend well. I wouldn't be opposed if, let's say, this next 4 games we go, let's say, 2-2. Even 2 on, it's 5 games. Let's say that we go 2-3. I wouldn't be opposed to that, because guess what? We might even be even worse if Zach was on the team. So if they, re-sign Pat, at least for a reasonable contract, and decide not to tank, let's say just try. And by trying, I mean, have a winning culture. Because, there's one thing to be just losing all the time. That way you got to get rid of all your players. But if you just get rid of Zach, I don't think that's considered tanking. I think that's considered still trying to win, because obviously we're winning. So I wouldn't be opposed to that as well. But let me know in the comment section down below, with this recent resurgence of the Bulls, what direction do you want them to go? Do you want them to tank like so bad that they would get like top whatever pick next year? I know it's not, but is that the direction, or is the direction still try to, while doing so, developing these young guys? Love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're a Bulls fan, and I'll see you guys in the next video.